This is American Top 40. I'm Casey Kasem. Now we're up to the young American singer who was an overnight sensation in Britain. 1 minute she was a complete unknown. The next, her album debuted on the entire British chart, way up at number 2. This woman is a 24-year-old folk singer named Tracy Chapman. Now, Tracy grew up in Cleveland in the 60s and 70s, but moved to a suburb of Boston when she went to Tufts University. During college, she sang and played her guitar in coffee houses around Boston and on street corners. Tracy studied anthropology at Tufts, and you can hear it in her music. Her songs are about people, about real-life struggles. Racism, poverty, earning a living. Not exactly commercial ditties, but one record company was interested in Tracy's unusual sound. Elektra Records signed her last year, and her first album, Tracy Chapman, came out in April. The album won the critics over, and soon stories began appearing in Rolling Stone and even Newsweek. Then, about a month ago, Tracy played at Freedom Fest, that huge concert in London that paid tribute to imprisoned South African activist Nelson Mandela. The bill was loaded with famous names: Dire Straits, Eric Clapton, Whitney Houston, The Eurythmics, Sting, and many others. An audience of about 80,000 people crammed into London's Wembley Stadium. And all the big stars got the place rocking. Then, about halfway through, Tracy walked out on stage with just her acoustic guitar and played an emotional version of her song, Fast Car. The enormous crowd went silent until the end, when the applause was deafening. For a week after that, Tracy was the toast of London. Elektra released her album in England, and boom, it went right to number 2. Amazing when you think a week before, no one knew who she was. Well, here in the U.S., her album shot up the chart to number 9, and the song she sang at the Freedom Fest concert debuts this week in the countdown. Tracy Chapman and Fast Car, the 20-year-old singer and songwriter originally from Cleveland, debuts at number 37 with her first hit single.
Casey's Countdown.
I'm David Perry for Casey Kasem. Now we're up to Give Me One Reason. It's by a singer-songwriter who didn't start to play guitar until she'd given up on the organ, the clarinet, and even the ukulele. Tracy Chapman says that the ukulele was her very first instrument, something she started on when she was in grade school in her hometown of Cleveland. Tracy says she wasn't much good at playing the ukulele, and anyway, her ukulele career stopped pretty early because her best friend at the time stole it from her. After the ukulele, Tracy took lessons on the organ at her school, but she says the organ was just too complicated for her temperament, and what's more, there was no way she could practice the organ at home because she didn't have one. When she entered the 6th grade, Tracy joined the school band, and that's when she took up the clarinet. But it really didn't excite her. You see, she wanted to write songs and sing, and the instrument she dreamed of playing was the guitar. Finally, as she became a teen, she got a guitar, and soon she was writing and singing songs for her friends and teachers at school. She quickly became good at the instrument, and by the time she reached her 20s, she'd made music her career. These days, that career is as big as ever thanks to her latest hit, a song that's already been to number 1 on the pop chart. This week on the adult contemporary chart, it moves up a notch to number 4. Tracy Chapman and Give Me One Reason. Rising a notch to number 4, that's singer-songwriter Tracy Chapman and Give Me One Reason. I'm David Perry for Casey Kasem. 3 big hits to go on our way to number 1.
Casey's Countdown.
Well, now we're up to Give Me One Reason. It's by a singer and guitarist who once got a stinging rejection from a major record company. They told her, next time, tune your guitar. It happened back when Tracy Chapman was a high school student at the Worcester School in Danbury, Connecticut. Tracy was well known at her school for her songwriting and singing. She often serenaded the students and faculty on the mall and in the school's chapel. Well, one day, one of her classmates recorded the teenager singing, and they thought the tape was so good that the classmate sent it to her uncle. He worked at Columbia Records, and she thought maybe he could help Tracy get a recording contract. The classmate was sure that as soon as the powers that be at Columbia heard Tracy's tape, they'd jump at the chance to sign her up. But it didn't quite turn out that way. A short time later, Tracy got a letter in the mail from Columbia. As she remembers it, the letter said something like, "We're sorry to say it's too early in your development to consider giving you a recording contract." And then the letter finished by giving her some good sound advice. Please tune your guitar next time. As disappointing as that was, Tracy didn't give up. She kept on singing and making demos, and years later, she was signed to Elektra Records. Late last year, she released her fourth album, the CD New Beginning. And this week, the first hit from that CD is survey song number 4 on Casey's Countdown. Here's Tracy Chapman and Give Me One Reason.
Give me one reason to stay here, and there ain't no more to say.
That's Tracy Chapman and Give Me One Reason. For the second consecutive week, it's at number 4. 3 big hits to go on our way to number 1.
Casey's Countdown.